With these can-do videos, you'll see real-life situations where you have to introduce yourself, talk about your family, or give your contact information. So, by the end, you can do them yourself in French. This video is a small portion of our can-do course. To get the full course, including translations, grammar tools, and assessment tests, click the link in the description. Welcome to Can Do French by FrenchPod101.com.
Bonjour à tous, je suis Lia Mercier. Hi everyone, I'm Lia Mercier. In this lesson, you'll learn how to talk about your occupation in French.
This is Mark Lee, and he's on a plane to France. He asks the passenger sitting next to him, Hugues Henry, "Are you a student?"
Êtes-vous étudiant?
Listen to the conversation and focus on Hugues' response. The speakers in this conversation use formal French. Ready?
Êtes-vous étudiant?
Non, je ne suis pas étudiant. Je suis investisseur.
Once more with the English translation.
Êtes-vous étudiant?
Are you a student?
Non, je ne suis pas étudiant. Je suis investisseur.
No, I'm not a student. I'm an investor. Wondering how you can master these conversations even faster? Here's how. 1. Read along. You get the lesson conversation and translations inside our dialogue tool so that you see each word as you hear it and understand it all. 2. Practice speaking. By shadowing what you hear, you can also record and compare yourself with native speakers with our voice recording tools. And 3. Take our assessment tests and see how much you remember. These tools are part of our Can Do course. Just click the link in the description to get them.
Let's take a closer look at the conversation.
Do you remember how Mark asks, "Are you a student?"
Êtes-vous étudiant?
First is
Être,
are, as in, are you?
être, être, être,
Is from the verb,
être,
meaning to be.
être.
After this is
Vous,
the plural form of you, as in you all. But here it's the formal way to address a single person.
vous, vous.
Together,
Êtes-vous,
are you, when addressing a single person.
êtes-vous,
Last is the word
étudiant,
student.
étudiant, étudiant.
In French, all nouns have grammatical gender and are either singular or plural.
Étudiant,
Is masculine singular. Altogether, it's
êtes-vous étudiant?
are you a student?
Êtes-vous étudiant?
Now, let's take a closer look at the response.
Do you remember how Hugues says, "No, I'm not a student. I'm an investor"?
Non, je ne suis pas étudiant. Je suis investisseur.
First is
Non,
no.
non, non.
It answers Mark's yes or no question. Are you a student?
Êtes-vous étudiant?
After this, Hugues specifies that he's not a student.
Je ne suis pas étudiant.
I'm not a student.
Je ne suis pas étudiant.
First is
Je,
I.
je.
After this is
Ne suis pas,
meaning am not.
ne suis pas.
Let's start with
Suis,
meaning am, as in I am.
suis, suis, suis.
Is from the verb
Être,
meaning to be.
être.
Before the verb is
Ne, ne, ne.
After the verb is
pas, pas, pas,
Together
ne pas,
means not.
ne pas,
Altogether, it's
je ne suis pas,
I am not.
je ne suis pas,
Next is
étudiant,
student.
étudiant,
Altogether,
je ne suis pas étudiant,
I'm not a student.
je ne suis pas étudiant,
Oog then tells Mark his actual occupation.
je suis investisseur,
I'm an investor.
je suis investisseur,
First is
je,
I.
je
Next is
suis,
am, as in I am.
suis,
Last is
investisseur,
investor.
investisseur, investisseur,
The word
investisseur,
is a masculine singular noun. Together,
je suis investisseur,
I'm an investor.
je suis investisseur.
Altogether,
Non, je ne suis pas étudiant, je suis investisseur.
no, I'm not a student. I'm an investor.
Non, je ne suis pas étudiant. Je suis investisseur.
The pattern is
Non, je ne suis pas occupation, je suis actual occupation.
no, I'm not occupation. I'm actual occupation.
Non, je ne suis pas occupation, je suis actual occupation.
Imagine you're Emma Auge, a student. The word for female student is
Étudiante, étudiante, étudiante.
Ook asks if you're a teacher. The word for a female teacher is
Professeur, professeur, professeur.
say, no, I'm not a teacher. I'm a student. Ready?
Non, je ne suis pas professeur, je suis étudiante.
No, I'm not a teacher. I'm a student.
Non, je ne suis pas professeur, je suis étudiante.
Let's look at some more examples. Listen and repeat or speak along with the native speakers.
Non, je ne suis pas étudiant. Je suis investisseur. Non, je ne suis pas étudiant. Je suis investisseur.
Non, je ne suis pas professeur, je suis étudiante. Non, je ne suis pas professeur, je suis étudiante.
Non, je ne suis pas professeur. Je suis ingénieur. Non, je ne suis pas professeur. Je suis ingénieur.
Non, je ne suis pas infirmière, je suis médecin. Non, je ne suis pas infirmière, je suis médecin.
Non, je ne suis pas étudiante, je suis professeur. Non, je ne suis pas étudiante, je suis professeur.
Non, je suis barista. Non, je suis barista.
Did you notice how the last speaker omits part of the response?
Wondering how you can master these conversations even faster? Here's how. 1. Read along. You get the lesson conversation and translations inside our dialogue tool so that you see each word as you hear it and understand it all. 2. Practice speaking. By shadowing what you hear, you can also record and compare yourself with native speakers with our voice recording tools. And 3. Take our assessment tests and see how much you remember. These tools are part of our Can-Do course. Just click the link in the description to get them.
Non, je suis barista.
No, I'm a barista.
Non, je suis barista.
When directly responding to someone's question, it's often possible to omit part of the response. Here, by simply answering,
Non,
no, there's no need to say,
je ne suis pas étudiant.
I'm not a student. The pattern is,
Non, je suis actual occupation.
no, I'm actual occupation.
Non, je suis actual occupation.
You should be aware of this pattern, but for this lesson, we'll use the pattern.
Non, je ne suis pas occupation. Je suis actual occupation.
No, I'm not occupation. I'm actual occupation.
Non, je ne suis pas occupation. Je suis actual occupation.
Let's review the key vocabulary. Student,
Étudiant. Étudiant. Étudiante. Étudiante.
teacher,
Professeur. 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 Professeur.
engineer,
Ingénieur. 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 Ingénieur.
nurse,
Infirmier. Infirmier. Infirmière. Infirmière. Médecin.
doctor,
Médecin. Médecin. Barista.
barista,
Barista. Barista. Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then, repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember the word for a male investor? Investisseur. Investisseur. And how to say I? Je. Je. Do you remember how Hugues says, I'm an investor? Je suis investisseur. Je suis investisseur. Do you remember the word for a male student? Étudiant. Étudiant. Do you remember how Hugues says, I'm not a student? Je ne suis pas étudiant. Je ne suis pas étudiant. Do you remember how Hugues Henry says, I'm not a student, I'm an investor?
Je ne suis pas étudiant, je suis investisseur.
Je ne suis pas étudiant. Je suis investisseur. Do you remember the formal way to say you? Vous. Vous. Do you remember how Mark Lee asks, Are you a student? Remember, Mark uses formal French.
Êtes-vous étudiant?
Êtes-vous étudiant? Do you remember the word for a female student? Étudiante. Étudiante. And the word for a male teacher? Professeur. Professeur. Do you remember the word for a female teacher? Professeur. Professeur. Do you remember the word for a male engineer? Ingénieur. Ingénieur.
Let's practice. Imagine you're Mark Lee and you're an engineer. Respond to Hugues' question. Ready?
Êtes-vous professeur?
Non, je ne suis pas professeur. Je suis ingénieur.
Listen again and repeat.
Non, je ne suis pas professeur. Je suis ingénieur. Non, je ne suis pas professeur. Je suis ingénieur.
Let's try another. Imagine you're Leah Mercier and you're a teacher. Ready?
Êtes-vous étudiante?
Non, je ne suis pas étudiante. Je suis professeur.
Listen again and repeat.
Non, je ne suis pas étudiante. Je suis professeur. Non, je ne suis pas étudiante. Je suis professeur.
Let's try one more. Now, imagine you're Emma Auge and you're a student. Ready?
Êtes-vous professeur?
Non, je ne suis pas professeur. Je suis étudiante.
Listen again and repeat.
Non, je ne suis pas professeur. Je suis étudiante. Non, je ne suis pas professeur. Je suis étudiante.
This is the end of this lesson.
Now, here's what you can do to cement this conversation in your head. Review the conversation with our dialogue tool and lesson transcripts. Study the key words and phrases with our spaced repetition flashcards. Review the key grammar and cultural tips inside the lesson notes. And test yourself with our assessment tests. So click the link in the description right now and sign up for your free lifetime account to access our Can-Do course.
Well done! Now you know how to talk about your occupation in French. That's all there is to it. Keep practicing and move on to the next lesson.